Hey guys, it's now week 19 with my review for episode 8 of Arrow, The Brave and the Bold. So, as usual, I'm going to start with a recap, give you my overall rating, right down to my top 10 moments. Because this is a crossover episode and so much happened, I'm going to do top 10 moments instead of top 5. So, starting with the recap, Oliver and Roy track down the home of Digger Harkness, a boomerang-wielding murderer, but they only find Argus operatives looking for the same man. Star Labs Dr. Caitlin Snow and Cisco Ramon arrive in Starling City to help Felicity analyze DNA from the arrow that killed Sarah. Digger attempts to kill Lila. Roy and Oliver arrive to stop him, but need assistance from Barry Allen, who uses his super speed to stop a couple of boomerangs from killing Oliver. Later, Lila reveals Digger was a part of the Suicide Squad, and Oliver agrees to allow Barry to assist him in the investigation. Oliver's interrogation tactics lead Barry to question how emotionally stable Oliver is. The team track Digger's location, but it turns out to be a ruse that allows Digger to trace their hideout, where he wounds Lila before being forced to run away. In order to escape, Digger plants 5 bombs around the city. While Oliver captures Digger, Barry uses both his and Oliver's team to defuse the bombs at the same time. In the end, Oliver and Barry go to an abandoned warehouse to determine who would win in a fight. Flashbacks to Hong Kong show Oliver learning how to torture suspects effectively to get information. So, overall, I'm giving this episode a 9.5. It was a great, event. This is the closer of the Flash and Arrow crossover. I would have to say that I like the Flash part of the crossover more than I like the, Arrow crossover, just because of the differences between the show. You had the Flash where it's all like hopeful, has a light, and it's first season, so it's trying to do really good to get a lot of good reviews and good ratings, so they go into this tone where they can connect to more audience, to more of the audience who don't know the Flash. So if you're watching the show, you can connect to the Flash a little bit better than you can with Arrow. Like with Arrow, it had this more darker, brooding tune, so not so many people would have watched that show. So many people watched that show, but not a lot of people stuck around with it. With the Flash, so many people are sticking with the show because it has this good vibe of characters that bring so much light into the show. And even if the Reverse Flash had killed Barry's mom, the show still continues with this light tone that they are adapting into it. But I just feel like changes are gonna come as the show continues on into the further seasons and into further on in this season that is going on right now. But with Arrow, like I said before, we've always had this dark tone, and it's just that great stories and great characters brought light into the show. I wouldn't say there's gonna be a time when we have light in Arrow. It's always going to be a dark tone. It's just that having these two characters on Arrow just seemed a bit weird. Oliver on the Flash, we didn't see so much of the dark tone that he has on Arrow, but when Barry's on the Flash, we get to explore that dark tone that Oliver deals with every day on his own TV show. So in terms of tone, the crossover seemed great on the Flash, not so great on Arrow. So, Oliver not using torture anymore, I feel like this is one of the lasting effects that Mark Guggenheim, Andrew Kreisberg, or Greg Berlanti had said about these crossovers. He's going to start using less lethal ways in his job as a hero. I said in the previous review that, Oliver isn't on this hero's journey because he's not considered a hero yet. So, I feel like he's going to have to let go of the things that he's learned in the past 5 years, a bit of reforming them in a bit. Using less more deadlier ways to get information, trying different ways to get information without in a sense of killing somebody, if I can put it into that kind of wording. He's not going to go around stabbing people for information. He's going to be doing something differently. So, he's going to be on this journey to becoming a hero. Just look at Batman. Usually if he's not getting the information that he needs, he'll resort to torture. But usually he just has, this reputation of being a brooding force to the villains of Gotham that, they, confess the information to him as soon as possible. They don't hesitate. Usually they do, sometimes they do, but, most of the time, I'd say about more than 50% of the time, they confess to whatever Batman wants from them. So now on to Easter eggs. Captain Boomerang, Digger Harkness, he was the villain of this Flash and Arrow crossover. You know, he's usually a Flash villain. He was a part of the Suicide Squad. So in the end of the episode, he ended up on the Lian Yu prison that was set up by Argus. So, you know, he's Slade Wilson's prison buddy, and Slade Wilson was a part of the Suicide Squad at one point. You know, his performance in this episode was okay. I kind of got annoyed by the Boomerang puns. I mean, the first time we'd seen him in episode 7, and then like this one scene where he was in the Argus facility, you know, it was cool, but then when he was fighting against Lila in the Arrow Cave, it just didn't seem cool anymore. It just seemed like very annoying to me, I guess. But, you know, his performance was great, I would say. I mean, really, the cartoons made him and with Captain Cold, you know, losers. Like, they didn't have, like, the intelligent side. They didn't have this, you know, better, like, concept. They didn't have a better concept for these two particular villains. So when they come on the live action TV shows, you know, they build a better concept, a better persona for these characters who have been portrayed as losers in the TV shows. So this episode was titled The Brave and the Bold. This is just a comic book title. The more familiar comic book title is the first appearance of the Justice League. I think it's issue 28 or 38, I'm not sure. But you know, this is just a reference to Barry and Oliver, Barry being the brave and Oliver being the bold. And then Oliver called Roy Speedy again. You know, Lila was like, oh, what's going on with you and Speedy? And then Oliver was like, oh, you mean Roy? You know, in the comics, Roy was Speedy at first, you know, when he was Oliver's sidekick. Then he became Red Arrow, and then he became Arsenal. So the TV show just went to Arsenal instead. The reason for is that Oliver hasn't called himself Green Arrow yet. He's just calling himself Arrow. So why call Roy Red Arrow when Oliver hasn't become the Green Arrow? So, you know, I like what they did there as well. But I just like how Speedy is, you know, used as a continuation. You know, the only character who, you know, fully accepts that Speedy persona is our Speedy nickname is Thea. So, now into my top 10 moments. Starting with number 10, Diggle and Lila are getting married. I just loved how many times they teased this. I mean, they really didn't tease the fact that Diggle and Lila were getting married. I mean, it was a surprise for me. Like, I wasn't expecting this to happen. But, you know, how many times they interacted in this episode. You know, you only call me sweetie when you want something. And then when he told her that he wants her to marry him. You know, it's just a really great thing that they're pushing on for these two particular characters.
So I can say yes.
Number 9, Team Arrow and Team Flash exchange gifts. So Oliver's gift to Barry was lame. I mean, like, he only gets like this little place where he can put his outfit on when he's back in Starling again. But Cisco's gift to Oliver was okay. I mean, we didn't get a good look at it at first. I mean, there's some upgrades to his suit. I mean, he has a strap to the quiver, and then like there's a little logo on his left arm. So like always, near the mid-season finale, Oliver gets a new upgrade, like the mask in season 2. So, you know, there's going to be more upgrades to the Arrow suit, and I also think they said there's going to be upgrades to Barry's suit as well.
Turns out Star Labs Industrial Fabricator was based out of Starling, so polymer Kevlar weave. It's 25% lighter and can carry 15% more gear. I got designs I'm working up that I'm really excited by.
It's subtle.
I wanted to replace the hood, but Felicity said it had sentimental value.
Thank you.
Anytime.
Number 8, Captain Boomerang in the Arrow Cave.
You had a bomb for the back of my head. I have a little something special for the back of yours.
Number 7, the flashbacks. So, like I said, I like how Oliver is starting to reform the lessons that he learned in his 5 years away from civilization. So, you know, we're just going to see more of the things that Oliver has learned and, you know, just see him in present day, you know, like deciding to put aside those teachings that he's learned to become a hero.
There are people in this world who deal only in extremes. It's naive to think that anything less than extreme measures will stop them.
Number 6, Oliver and Roy versus Captain Boomerang. Number 5, Captain Boomerang in Argus.
You know, you should be careful how to treat people, my friend.
After all. What goes around comes around.
Number 4, Barry sucks at keeping his secret identity a secret.
Hey, secret identity?
They're married.
We're not married.
We're together, whatever. He told her about me. You didn't?
I keep secrets for a living, man.
Ah. My bad.
You're...
The Flash. Sushi?
Number 3, Cisco in the Arrow Cave. You know, I keep waiting for the moment where the Arrow Cave turns into the Quiver. I mean, the Arrow Cave is great, but I would just really like to see like a little Easter egg or like a reference to this one moment in the comics where Oliver brings Harley Quinn down to the Arrow Cave, and then Harley notes that, you know, the Arrow Cave is such a lame name for a hideout, so she decides to call it the Quiver. So I hope that Cisco would have done it. But, you know, maybe somebody else, maybe Felicity or Cupid, you know, preferably Cupid because, like, she's considered to be, like, the Green Arrow's Harley Quinn.
Hey, what's that for? Distracting me from work. So where's Mr. Diggle?
He's running down a lead.
Number 2, Barry arrives on Arrow. And my number 1 moment, the Flash versus Arrow crossover ending.
Ready! Set!
So that is it for my review for episode 8 of Arrow. What did you guys think? Did you like this episode? Leave me your thoughts in the comments below. And remember, I'll be doing reviews for all episodes of Arrow this season. Be sure to subscribe to catch them. Subscribe to my other channel, Jedi for 50 for fandom vids. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Tumblr for updates on Arrow the Flash and more. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.